What's up, fiends? Alucard here. Welcome back to Polonia Week. I am joined once again by TBety.
Hello, everyone.
So today we are going to talk about Hell on the Shelf. All right, so Hell on the Shelf is from 2021, so it's pretty new. It's an hour and 14 minutes. Of course, it is directed by Mark Polonia. So this one is released by SRS Cinema and Polonia Brothers Entertainment, of course. And the DVD, which I have, Hell on the Shelf. The DVD is released by MVD Visual. So thank you to TBety for this copy of Hell on the Shelf.
You're very welcome.
Really cool stuff. And of course, TBety, you are now a Polonia fan.
Oh, so, I love the Polonia, bro.
So that's why I wanted you on here with me to talk about this this newer classic, I guess you could say. So this one is about a parapsychology crew of 3. And they go to the Wingate house, which is up for sale, and apparently it cannot be sold because it's haunted. So the realty lady, she contacts a group called NERPA, NERPA, which stands for the Northeast Regional Paranormal Association. And apparently, in one of the interviews, we learned that there's been some sort of a homicide at this house. Now, we learned this from the realty lady. That's kind of what we know. And it was kind of a funny part in the very beginning. They're interviewing the realty lady, and she was like, "Yeah, there was this homicide, blah blah." Oh wait, can we not add that to the thing? Yeah, that was pretty fun. And let me mention who's in this movie, by the way. We have Titus Himmelberger as Damon Satchel. He's the audio specialist of the group. We have Dave Fife plays Lenny Barnes. He's the videographer, the cameraman type of guy. And we have Mark Polonia himself as Max Simonetti. He's labeled as a paranormal investigator. And the real estate agent, Angie, is played by Titus's real-life wife, Natalie Himmelberger. Of course, it's directed by Mark Polonia and Anthony Polonia, his son, and it's produced by Ron Bonk, the owner of SRS Cinema. So this movie ends up being more of a like a paranormal ghost show type of movie. So if you're looking for a killer doll, this is really not that movie.
Right.
This is a misleading cover.
It is, because it surprised me once I started watching it.
Yeah, because you're expecting a killer doll movie, and what you get is more of a Ghost Hunters episode.
Which I love those too, because they're funny.
which the Ghost Hunter stuff is actually pretty interesting, and
it is.
The thing about this movie, I think they did a hell of a job recreating those scenarios. I was actually really impressed the way they did it. Like, this looked and felt like I was watching an episode of Ghost Hunters.
Yeah.
Like it was legit. Like, it was like, I was like, okay, they actually they tapped into something here, and they actually did it pretty damn well.
They did.
So now it is December 23rd, 2018, and we have, the house is laid out with all these surveillance cameras from the crew, and we get 2 guys, and they're actually burglars. So they go in, they're rummaging around, and they're looking for whatever, and then they end up in the basement, and you don't see it, but they both get killed. They both get off, like, in the basement, and like, okay, so something is definitely up in the basement. So now we meet our ghost hunting crew. Like I said, Damon, Lenny, and Max. And we learned that the house was built in 1913, and there have been 7 owners since then. And because nobody stays, because it's a haunted property, and nobody, everybody's out within a week, right? It's very Amityville, even though this is not Amityville. Surprisingly, this is not Amityville. Because Polonia loves to do the Amityville stuff. So now they kind of tell the story of the single mom and these two kids that lived in the house. And the two kids are twins, and one of them ends up uh, falling down the flight of stairs to the basement and ends up dying. And that kid's name is Tyler, and his twin's name is Manny. Now, at this point, we don't know. We don't know if Manny pushed him, or he just fell, or what. We just don't know. We just know that he fell down. Manny was there, so who knows? So now we cut back to our paranormal investigators. So during all of this, they have these little interview segments, kind of like they do on the real ghost hunting shows. And we learned that Lenny, the videographer, is new to the team, and he's basically just taking this gig for the money.
Right.
Yeah. So he didn't believe any of this stuff, all that jazz. So they start investigating, and it's daytime. You can see the sun outside of the window, the whole deal. So they start using communication processes with them. They have a spirit box. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yes. So they start using a spirit box to try to communicate with whatever or whoever's there. So they end up deducing that they're talking to Tyler. And Max asks, "Do you miss your brother, Tyler?" And then Tyler's answer was like, "No." Like,
No.
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 Like, I mean, like hardcore, no. It's like, oh, okay. So um so they go down to the basement and they find these two like little bitty chairs. They're like kid size chairs. And so um they kind of make the assumption that these were the twins' chairs. And so Max sits in one of the chairs, and he leaves the other one. He's like, "Hey, can you come sit next to me?" Blah blah blah. And again, Tyler's like, "No." So that was the first day of their investigation. Now they're supposed to be there for 3 days. Okay, so that was kind of the first day. Now it's nighttime. Um, Damon goes and listens to the audio recordings and stuff, and he hears jingling, like little sleigh bell type of jingling in the background. I thought that was kind of funny. So, and then the other thing that happens overnight is we see there's a camera on Max, and he's sleeping, and all of a sudden his sheets, the bed sheets, start getting pulled from him, kind of like they do, and he wakes up like, whoa, kind of thing. Total ghost hunters meets paranormal activity, type of deal. They notice that there's a little elf, of course, was sitting on a shelf, but the elf had actually moved from the shelf onto the chair that they brought up from the basement. So they start investigating again. They go down to the basement, and all of a sudden they get stuff like shoved, like thrown at them, like crazy. So they run back up. It's like, oh wow, all this crazy stuff. Meanwhile, the elf has moved from the chair back up to the shelf. So they're like, oh, what the hell's going on? Why is this thing moving? Later on, they're listening to the audio again. Damon is, and he hears the words "breathe gas." And so yeah, so night two begins, and they're all sleeping. All of them is zonked out, and there's cameras everywhere. That's how these shows work, right? So all of a sudden, all three of them start coughing like crazy, and they have to get up and run outside
Yeah.
because there's a gas leak. Breathe gas leak. Yeah.
Mhm.
So they discover. So the next morning, they go and they start watching all the footage, and they had actually attached a camera to the elf because they want to see why or how it's moving, right? So they actually end up seeing the elf jump off of the shelf and start walking towards the kitchen. and he turns on the stove and opens the stove. So that's your elf action. That's your
That's
killer.
pretty much, yeah.
That's your killer killer toy action here in this movie. And I think I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
because it would ruin it. Yeah,
because anything else will completely kind of ruin the story.
right.
Um, but yeah, I was super impressed with the way they did this one. My only quibbles really are that they added these little extra video effects, and it look kind of cheesy. um, but this one's played completely straight. Like this one's
Yeah,
not.
it was. It
Yeah,
was.
this one is not. It's not one of the like super funny ones that like
No,
that's not. They actually were trying to do a legit
it,
like kind of a ghost story here.
they were
Um,
trying to ask him, did you want to try to help you to go to the light to go back across the light?
right, like that
And he
was the
said,
whole point. They were like, we want to
right.
help.
He's telling him, no, no. He goes, why not? What do you want to do? And kill, kill, kill.
Yeah, yeah. So if you're into like ghosty stuff or the ghost hunter shows, I definitely recommend this one. Um, I thought it was a, a mostly accurate portrayal of these shows.
It was very much so.
And I also thought that the acting in this one was actually pretty stellar. Um, I definitely above average for most of the Polonia movies. I thought acting wise in this one. Of course, they had three strong actors in this one. They had Titus Himmelberger, who I think is actually one of the best actors in the Polonia crew. Um, they had Mark, who can be good, and then sometimes he can be, but most of the time Mark's pretty good. And then they had Dave Fife, who uh, again I think another underrated actor. So yeah, I definitely think the acting was pretty strong in this one, and I dug. So basically, the part where I stopped from then on, I dug what happened. Like
Yeah, it was good.
it it was really well done. Um, and everything kind of just built up to the end, and it was
Right. And did you expect what was going to happen at the end to happen?
no, but
Me
I'm
either.
but I'm kind of glad it did
Yes.
because it harkens back to um not I hesitate to say real life, but as you know, Mark Polonia um, is a twin in real life.
Right.
His brother John unfortunately passed away a few years back. They used to make all the movies together. So this I thought was kind of a neat little thing with the twins and all that. And I was like, oh, and of course he has all this real life twin experience that he could add to the movie. So yeah, and this movie had a $10,000 budget. I was kind of surprised to hear that number. I was not expecting to hear that number, unless that's not accurate. But that's what I read. Um, but yeah, and this is the house that they always use lately in these movies. It's that same house that's in House Squad and all these other
Yeah.
movies. I don't know if he owns the house, or I assume he owns the house. I don't know. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this one. I would even dare to say this is one of my favorite Polonia movies.
Yeah, it was super cool. Really. It
Um,
really, and like I said, that ending's going to be good
yeah,
because
yeah,
you're not going to expect
definitely
it.
check out the ending. It is right now. I don't see it streaming anywhere. But
No,
there
it's not.
there is the DVD from SRS Cinema, which I do highly recommend. Especially if you're into the ghost hunting stuff or just ghost stuff in general. Like I said, don't let the cover fool you. It is not a killer toy movie at all. But overall, I'm going to give this one. I'm actually going to give this one 4 out of 5 bats. I liked it that much.
And I concur.
I really enjoyed this one. Definitely check it out if you can. Um, and since it's July, I guess Happy Christmas in July. This is my Christmas.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Um, so yeah, so everybody have a happy Polonia week. I'd like to thank TBety for joining me for a couple of
My
these
pleasure.
reviews. And we will see you guys next time. Remember to stay spooky.
Bye bye.